In the last video, we installed the big turbo kit on the full send turbo Civic. This thing's gonna absolutely rip, but we have one big problem. There's a lot of fabrication work that needs to be done, and I can't weld. In today's video, our goal is to fabricate the exhaust and the wastegate dump. As you can see, there is very little clearance between the turbo and the radiator, so we are going to have a pretty challenging time of making that bend. The plan is to go underneath the turbo between the block and the oil drain, underneath the frame rail, and then out through the driver's side bumper. The wastegate dump, on the other hand, is going to come off of the wastegate, down through this nice big gap right in front of the turbo, under the frame rail, and out with the exhaust, again through the driver's side bumper. Let's see what DJ has to say about it.
We're trying to go that way, correct?
Exhaust-wise?
Yeah, down.
Yeah, under and...
Are we doing 3-inch?
Hopefully, yeah.
This morning didn't start like this. It started as this bearing, this cap, and a piece of rod. Now it's an end link for that Arc 7. I'm David. Everyone knows me as DJ. I own Rudd's Racing. I started off building Hondas a long time ago. It just turned into this.
Rudd's Racing is the most down-to-earth performance shop you're gonna find in the entire Chicagoland area. So if you have a project car that you need built, Rudd's Racing is the place for you. They specialize in Hondas, but they'll do anything. Thank you to Rudd's Racing for helping me build my dream exhaust for the full send turbo Civic. You can find them on Instagram at Rudd's Racing.
So basically what I want to do is I want to cut this flange off the turbo and put a V-band on it.
Right off the bat, DJ tells me that I'm gonna be removing my turbo, cutting the flange off of it, and welding on a V-band. I have never welded before in my entire life, and I'm kind of freaking out right now.
Like beginners, for me, I feel like they either move way too fast or they move way too slow and burn holes. So not breathing, taking their time, being confident in the work they're doing. That's mainly what I see.
There you go. Don't go so long because then you'll burn through.
Yeah.
A little longer than that. Don't move it so fast.
Okay.
There you go. So do that all the way around.
Now the funny thing is, when I first talked to DJ about this collaboration, we talked about me dropping the car off and him fabricating a new exhaust, wastegate dump, intercooler piping, all this stuff for the car. And I thought I was just gonna be filming him doing it. Well, in this exact moment, I'm realizing that I'm about to make my entire exhaust from scratch, all on my own. And that's a scary feeling.
I mean, yes, it's our job to build people's race cars, right? But I teach more people than I probably should. You know, like I want people to get their hands in. It's not just like welding some shit together. Yeah. It's more to it.
DJ shows me how to make pie cuts, and this is going to be our technique for turning a straight pipe into a 180-degree bend to go under the turbo.
Let's see how when we put them together, it starts to form. This is how you make the tightest bend you can.
Okay.
So we need a bunch of these.
How many should I make? Like 10?
I would just make a lot.
Oh, you're looking at that all the way around.
I didn't cut it straight, that's why. At this point in time, I'm realizing that there's gonna be way more to learn than I ever could have imagined. And this project is starting to feel a little bit intimidating for me. When we get back over to the welding table, you can see that this giant taped together mess that I made is a 180-degree bend, and now it's just time to start tacking it all together. My first few welds in this new material were pretty bad, but they are quickly getting better. I've noticed that the last pie cut that I've tacked on is going to make the next piece after that hit the turbo. So it's time to go back to the vise and grind off that last pie cut. And now from here on out, it's basically just putting together everything I've learned. Cutting a piece of pipe, mocking it up on the car, and tacking it together. Rinse and repeat.
just knew that you wanted something like super unique and something that was like, people were gonna look at it and be like, oh, this is crazy. So like, I had kind of thought, okay, I'm gonna spend a shit ton of time making a bunch of pie cuts. We're gonna TIG weld, it's gonna have all the fancy coloring in it, and it's gonna be just this wow piece. I think the way that we're doing it is way cooler than if I was just to build it for you.
Because I knew my welds were gonna be pretty trash at first. That way, as I start to weld more and more of the exhaust, hopefully they'll get better and they'll start to look better towards the end, and then I'll be in the visible areas and we'll have a good looking welded exhaust. This definitely paid off because my tack welds on the 180-degree bend coming off of the turbo are definitely some of the better welds that I did throughout this exhaust. So I'm really happy that I chose a strategy because that is one of the more visible areas of the exhaust.
Yeah, you mainly just want to let it cool.
But I mean, for your first time, good job. It's not bad, so.
Thanks. That was fun.
Yeah, I mean, you learned how to pie cut, you made it all yourself. Yeah, I mean, as far as not ever doing this type of shit on your own, I think it's pretty cool. So.
Now you know what I get to do every day.
So the exhaust is done, and now it's time for the cool part. And that is brainstorming an interesting route for the wastegate dump to take. I don't just want to go with something normal, like dumping it to the ground or putting it through the hood. Like I want to do something cool because it's the full Sun Turbo Civic, so it's got to be a little bit outrageous. Now, if you ask me, this is the coolest part of the entire video because while I was making the exhaust, DJ was helping me throughout the process. You know, he'd give me pointers here and there. He'd be like, you should make this cut differently. You should weld this differently, like teaching me how to do it. Now it's time to make the wastegate dump, and I did it completely on my own. I'm Boosted John, and my goal is to reach 50,000 subscribers by the end of 2021. With less than 2 months left, this is beginning to feel pretty impossible, but with your help, we might be able to pull it off. Also, I have some brand new merch that went live with this video, so if you guys want to join the Boosted John Blown Motor Club, the link is in the description down below. This is by far my favorite merch design, so if you guys have a chance, please check it out. I think you're gonna love it. In the next video, we'll be welding the intercooler piping, welding a bung onto the radiator for water cooling for the turbo, installing the turbo kit fully for hopefully the last time, like the full assemble, and then hopefully getting a first start with the new turbo kit and hearing how it sounds. I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait to hear this exhaust. I can't wait to hear the sound of something that I created. It's so cool to me. It's so cool. Yes, I'm definitely going to be heat wrapping the exhaust. I'm going to be heat wrapping a lot of the wastegate dump just in the sensitive areas. Also, I have to cut the exhaust tip and the wastegate tip to length once I put the bumper on. That'll all come later. The important part was making the exhaust and making the wastegate dump. It was seriously so cool. Thank you guys for being here. Look forward to the next video. Please help me reach that subscriber goal of 50,000 subs by the end of 2021. Again, I know it seems impossible, but I think we can do it. I really do. I know you guys have been asking me for merch for way too long and I haven't provided it to you guys. I've had so much going on. Work at Tesla, like coming here, working on the Civic, making videos. It's been a lot, guys. But anyway, that's all I got. Thank you again for being here. And as I always say, boys, let's remember to plan, commit, execute, and attain our goals. Bye. Coming out with the long shot.